Welcome to The Buzz. We have a packed show for you today. We will get to talk to Imogen, the woman who walks around campus wearing steampunk-style clothing. We will be discussing body image and body confidence after a lovely VT on burlesque dancing and the Burlesque Society. We will get to see the amazing artwork of Josh Watson, who is a very impressive artist with only one hand. We will have the amazing local band The Fidgets performing their single Everywhere I Go to play us out. First up, we've got an amazing interview telling the story of Liv and her inspirational battle against anorexia.
I'm Liv. I've suffered with anorexia and it started when I was 12. In year 7 I got a boyfriend and I loved him loads. I always wanted to go out with him and he asked me out, so I was so happy. And then he dumped me randomly, and then he was going around telling all my friends how fat I was and that he couldn't believe he went out with me because I was so fat and all that. And so just from then I just didn't eat for days, and then I just gradually didn't eat over a year. I didn't even know I was ill. Even when I was in hospital I still thought I was fine. I think because I was so young as well, I just thought I was fine. It was never said I had an eating disorder or anorexia until literally just before I went into hospital. When you first go, you have a room on your own. So I was on my own, and you have to be supervised all the time. So staff would always come in and watch you. So there's the living room, and then there was the dining room, and you're on different tables. So when on my first day, I was on table 6, and that was the bottom table. So you work your way up to table 1. And I was sat down, and there was the girls with the tubes, feeding tubes. So I was sat with those girls, and I always remember it was a jacket potato with beans and cheese, and I was eating it, and it was the first thing I'd eaten in months. And I was eating it, and all these girls kind of were watching me eat it, and then so all the girls with the tube, they started eating because you couldn't really do anything. You weren't allowed outside, and then you weren't allowed. I wasn't allowed home for a few months, and then you start getting leave home. So I came out at the end of July, and I went on holiday, and then I went back to school, and I was a lot better than before, but I still wasn't I still struggled with eating. And then it was just over the year, I just slowly cut down on food, and then I just didn't really eat anything. And then so it was quite sad when I went back in, but it was fine. And I'd got a different team, because you had a team in hospital, and I'd got a new team when I went back in. Came out from my second admission just at the end of August this time, just before school. And so I came out, and I was a lot better. I know I wanted to come out, they wanted me to stay there longer again, but I was just no, I can do it this time. But as soon as I came out, I just lost loads of weight, and I was nearly going to go back in again. But I wouldn't have been able to go back to the same hospital, because it's if you've been there twice and you haven't recovered, then you'll have to go somewhere else. I went on holiday, I went to the Lake District, and I had a really lovely time, and then I just thought why would I want to go back in? I don't want to be ill anymore or anything. So then I just started eating, and the more you start eating, the less bad your head is. So all the voices just get quieter, the more weight you gain in a good way. So at college I'm doing a level 3 sport course. I hate the kind of school environment. I don't like being told what to do or anything, because I've been told what to do all the time in hospital. I just hate it. So I don't think I want to go to uni, and you don't need to become a personal trainer. And I want to go travelling as well, as soon as I leave college. And there's courses in America that I can do for a personal trainer. My advice to anyone suffering with an eating disorder and anorexia and anything like that would just be to think even if you think you're not going to get better and you're not going to get through it, that you can get through it, and it's never going to go away. It's always going to be with you, but you just learn to live with it and deal with it. If you think you're struggling and you just don't want to tell anyone, or you just think that you've just got to keep it to yourself, don't do that, because that's just gonna not get you anywhere. It's just gonna make you worse. If you just talk to someone, there's loads of people to talk to, even just talking to your parents, that can be the hardest, but they'll get you the help that you need. It's not the end of the world. Like, if you need the help, then that's fine. Like, no one's gonna judge you for it, because it's just gonna help you stay alive.
That was the story of Liv and her battle with anorexia. A very heartbreaking and inspirational tale. Now, joining me in the studio is Imogen.
Hiya.
Please tell us more about this, because it's fascinating.
Well, I'm part of a movement called steampunk, and depending on who you talk to, you get a million definitions on it, but it's basically based on what the Victorians thought the future would look like. So we have a lot of Victorian glamour, and then we kind of pair it with science fiction. We love things like H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, that kind of thing.
Interesting. So this would be Charles Dickens era type thing, is it?
Yeah. We kind of go a bit above and beyond. Like, we have pirates, which is 18th century, and we have like all manner of things like that. It's very adaptable. People do lots of different things with it.
Yeah, and there's obviously a market for it. It's so this green dress that we see in front of us. What was the inspiration behind that, or?
Well, actually, I write, so a lot of my costumes that I make, even just for myself, they have a character in mind. So this one here was my time traveller character, and she's got bright red hair, so she insists on wearing green all the time, and that's why the little watch buttons, because she travels with a pocket watch. The one I'm wearing actually is from my novel Dead Night, which is about Victorian vampire assassins, and so this is the main character, Cybele, and she wears a lot of red and rose motifs and things like that.
And this, what green is this? This is a...
It's meant to be kind of an olive green, but I love the fact that in the Victorian era, green dye was poisonous because it's made with arsenic. So I really love any colours that look like they poisoned a lot of Victorians.
So anything with green at that time had...
A lot of things, yeah. There are costumes in museums that you have to have handled with special gloves and everything so that you don't poison yourself.
My goodness me. And the hat? So the hat isn't of that time, that's a different...
It's a little bit based on it. It's... my outfit's got an 1880s vibe today, but you can be very loose with steampunk. That's what's nice about it.
And you would walk around all the time in this attire?
Yeah, do you know what? I got to a point where I just decided I didn't want to please anybody whose opinion I didn't care about, so I wear what makes me comfortable, and I love it.
And do you have lesser dress stuff like that you would wear around the house, or?
No, I go between medieval to about 1950, so anything in my wardrobe is that way inclined. You don't really get a middle ground with me.
And this is all made and designed by yourself?
A lot of it is, yeah.
So the house is littered with sewing machines and...
Yeah, my room is like half sewing studio, half wardrobe. There's no in between there either at all.
You do, and would you spend long doing it, or?
Yeah, I don't do a lot other than writing and costumes, so I'll spend a month and just plough out an outfit. So that's actually what I study. So.
And you mentioned novels? So is that what you write yourself?
Yeah, I write a lot of fantasy novels. Some of them are steampunk, some of them aren't. So
interesting. It's really fascinating. That's all we have time for to talk to Imogen about her wonderful wardrobe. Thank you very much, Imogen.
Thank you.
We now have a very interesting VT featuring the Burlesque Society of our very own Birmingham City University.
My name's Ailish. I teach the Burlesque Society at BCU. I also study fashion design. I started teaching like hen parties on the part-time while I was at college, and one time I was asked, "Oh, could you do a burlesque number?" And I'd watched loads of burlesque shows in the past, so I got into it from there. When Danny, who set up the Burlesque Society, set it up, I was like, I had to go. The things I enjoy most about teaching burlesque is watching everyone grow, watching everyone's confidence blossom, and everyone just become realise their own beauty basically, and just it's also seeing people experiencing the joy of dance and the empowerment of performing on stage, and it's just really nice. The kind of people I teach range a lot. We have a lot of people from the LGBTQ+ community. We have pretty much a lot of different kinds of people. We get guys in here, girls in here, girls that are on my course, and just such a big range of different people, different sizes, different ethnic minorities. It's just a mashed pot of the whole of society basically. And I think what draws it in is the most is that feeling of empowerment, and It's like, because burlesque is striptease, it's almost like you're playing a game with the audience going, yes, you think I'm going to take everything off, but I'm not. And it's kind of like that achievement of like, yes, I've got them in my power, like they're eating out of the palm of my hand. And it's like, it's just like feeling like dancing just makes you feel so happy. I've had some negativity around it because a lot of people perceive burlesque as being almost strip dancing rather than an art form. What also happens is because we're dancing provocatively, like people seem to feel like they can go up and touch you, like without asking you, just because they think you're asking for it. And it's all that whole kind of area around like consent and lack of consent and when is it okay and when is it not. I feel like when we're in class it's such an empowering thing and people don't understand that it's a strip tease. You're not necessarily getting naked, you're teasing the audience into thinking you're going to get naked but you don't ever. Like Gypsy Rose Lee first started out in the musical Gypsy and all she did at one point was took a shoulder strap off her dress and ran off stage. So you can come join burlesque, experience the fun, experience the empowerment on Mondays in the drama studio at the Curzon building, 7 till 8 or 8 till 9. Find us on Facebook with BCU Burlesque. Just message us. You can also find us on the BCUSU website if need be. We're all over the place.
Now we'll meet a band that's very close to home. The Fidgets. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
So, when did the dream start?
Oh, the dream. About 4 or 5 years ago now. We met on a music website called Join My Band. Ryan put an advert up, and I answered it, and we sort of started jamming and sort of went from there, really. So about 5 years, yeah.
So you're both based in Birmingham then, you're?
Close enough. I'm actually probably a little bit closer to Worcester, but I like to say Birmingham because it's a bigger city. You're more Birmingham than I am.
I suppose so. And how would you describe the band scene here in Birmingham? Is it better in other cities, or I'm sure we have something which is useful.
There's a lot of bands in Birmingham, but there's not a lot of connection between them. It's very difficult to run into each other, I think. Like, everybody knows that there's a lot of stuff going on, but there's loads of different music venues all dispersed, and there isn't really a scene as such. I can't think of, other than Harry Jordan, I can't think of a actual
We've sort
Birmingham
of we've mainly focused in Worcester and stuff for the past couple of years. We've been over that way, so the scene over there we know quite well. We only just started to come to Birmingham a little bit more than we used to. We did it a little bit when we first started. We used to come here, but not as much.
We're over here to invade now.
Yeah.
Good. So is there any particular bars here that you would like to be playing in regularly, or?
We did an amazing gig at the Sunflower Lounge last year. But like, if you're talking about dream venues, then I mean, I'd really like to get a gig at the Institute or something like that. All the Digbeth venues are really cool, but I mean, they tend to be like the flagship venues of the promoters, so you have to get quite a reputation to end up there. So maybe one day.
Good. So how are you with social media? Do you have your own page, or do you conform to that as some people?
We sort of split it. Mainly we use Facebook and Instagram are the main ones that we use. We've got Twitter and Snapchat, but Instagram and that seem to be where we've got the most audience, the most followers. Instagram especially, like I said, we use that post all the time, and obviously they've introduced a little story thing like Snapchat's got where you can constantly
and would you have short clips of your songs? And
yeah, all sorts.
Mostly it's just a good way to keep up with all the nonsense that we get up to. It's a lot of it is like, we built a snowman the other day, that was good. That's the sort of thing that we failed to build a snowman, but that's the sort of thing that ends up on the story.
And where would you travel around the country doing shows? And
everywhere, really, to be honest. If it's a show, we've played in London a couple of times, but not really anywhere else. But I mean, hopefully for next year we'll have some shows in different places. But wherever the show is, if it looks good for us, we'll go and do it, you know.
And have you any aspirations of going down to London, or any of those?
We did talk about going to London. We talked about moving. It's really just the fact our management's based up here, and a lot of our audience is up here and stuff. So it makes a lot of sense for us to be. It makes a lot of sense for us to be in Birmingham right now. Maybe one day again.
Good. And any thoughts of venturing into Europe for a?
We did it well. Actually, we played over in Sardinia. I've got family over there, and 2 years ago we went over there and we did a week at this little club. It was really cool, actually.
All free food, free
all free
beer.
food.
Great.
We got paid, free beer. It was great.
Brilliant.
So that was 2 years ago, but hopefully again. But you never know, do you? But
Well, that's all we have time for with the Fidgets for now. But don't worry, they'll be back live for us at the end of the show. We now have the pleasure of viewing a very amazing young man telling us his story. John Watson.
Josh Watson is an artist from Sunderland. From a very young age, he has been interested in art. Josh has lived with an underdeveloped arm all of his life, but that still hasn't stopped him from doing what he loves to do. We had a chance to talk to Josh about what it's like to be an artist and the challenges and the struggles that he faces, as well as what inspires him to do what he does.
Hi, my name's Josh Watson. I'm from Sunderland and I'm an artist. When I was born, just didn't have a right forearm, no weird surgeries or out like that, just born with it. What inspires us really is just a mixture of everything from Marvel all the way up to different animes, stuff like Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball Z. Rick and Morty's been quite good recently for the inspirations. I mostly get inspired of comic book stuff because I quite like the style, I like the thick lines, the colours, the boldness of everything. And Ideal World, love to work on one, but don't think I could sit and draw one start to finish because I think it would just get worse and worse as I'd be forced to finish it. And I'd love to eventually maybe maybe inking other people's pencil lines and colouring them and maybe do just the covers or something like that. Recently I'd probably say the Hellboy, you can say behind us, I'd say, but that's just my personal favourite. I just think it came together really well. There was never anything that troubled us with it or just sort of flowed together, and they're my favourite bits when nothing gives us hassle or stress. Most stressful, probably the Samurai. Just the fact I've done it all with 2 different fine liners. A thin one, then an even thinner one. It just felt like it took 4 hours to do. It looks alright, so it's all good.
Josh's ambitions are to further himself as an artist and the hopes to establish his work. He has gone to add his designs to things like t-shirts and aims to further himself more in the future. Josh is open to doing commissions to those who contact him directly. You can find him on Facebook and Twitter as well as Instagram.
Apologies, I was reading a book last night, Sherlock Holmes, and sadly it was John Watson. So just to reiterate the point, that was Josh Watson. Now, we've had the story of Liv, the amazing girl who struggled with anorexia and found a way to deal with it. The beautiful moves of BCU's Burlesque Society, the amazing artwork of Josh Watson, and we've also been joined by the lovely Imogen and her steampunk dresses. Now, finally, to play us off for today, the Fidgets.
You know I'm looking for the place I hang my heart in, and I heard you're looking for the arms to fall apart in. I couldn't help but notice that you're everything I wanted. I'll never stop, we'll never have to finish what we started. Everywhere I go, I know I'm just pretending like I don't already know. I'll be with you in the end, it doesn't matter what I say. You're playing with my heart again, there's just nothing I can do. Girl, I got a problem with you. Every time you leave me, girl, you leave me wanting more. Baby, tell me what this is. Never felt this way before. I don't wanna be a hero, all I wanna be is yours. I'm just waiting for the next time you'll be knocking on my door. Everywhere I go, I know I'm just pretending like I don't already know. I'll be with you in the end, it doesn't matter what I say. You're playing with my heart again, there's just nothing I can do. Girl, I got a problem with you. No, no, what you do to me. pretend.